Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. She is an author. Barb Schlinker is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search for Barb. You'll find her on most podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of the largest assets people have, their home. So, Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, it's been an interesting market this fall because I think the government shutdown has a play in it. I think the rates have been very almost flatline now for the last several months, but it hasn't really brought the buyers out in force. Yet there's a lot of people with their homes on the market. So it's becoming more and more competitive if you're a home seller trying to grab one of those buyers. So the first topic is about how to sell in a very competitive market. And then the second one we're going to cover, because I get this question all the time, how does somebody change real estate agents when the sale is just not working? And I can talk about that ethically, and just explain, I would say right now with most of the agents, it's probably not an agent problem, it's a marketing problem. And it's just more about educating the customers about what's going on in the market so they can decide whether or not they want to make an adjustment. And then the third topic we're going to talk about is what are the fees that are deducted when you're selling a house? That way people can decide, okay, if I want to sell my house, say for 500,000, my closing costs are X. That includes this, this, and this. I would say it's good for people to know that in advance. And actually, the sellers really love it when we show up with a estimated net sheet where they know after paying off their loan, after all the closing costs, taxes, title, all that stuff, exactly how much they're going to put in their pocket when it sells. It's a very important piece of information for them because they got to make decisions about what they're going to do with that money and going forward. Are they going to buy another home? How much do they need to put down, etc.? And then the last topic we're going to cover are the steps to downsize and declutter before you sell your home. So this is the biggest challenge for most people because they don't put their home on the market the same way that they live day to day. I mean, there's a few that I've walked into that look like house beautiful and they're gorgeous and that's great, but we don't see that. That's not the way most people live. And so it's a different preparation for photo day versus day-to-day life, but we can also help you kind of put together a checklist on what to do room by room by room to get your house ready for sale and get you prepared for the move. Because I would say on balance, a majority of people over time, and you can tell me if this is true for you, Richard, I know it is for us, you just accumulate stuff. You don't even know where it comes from, right?
Oh my gosh, it comes from an entire life. This project, this interest, you went back and saved this. Oh, I'll need this later on. It's amazing how much stuff just adds up.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're going to cover.
So, Barb, with the rates being as high as they are right now, it seems like there are fewer buyers that can afford a home. How do you sell a home with fewer buyers to choose from?
Well, Richard, there's two strategies that a seller can choose. They can either choose to go as is, I'm not doing any repair. There are some buyers that will come in and buy the home. They're typically investors and say, hey, just leave whatever you don't want, which is a seller's dream, because then they don't have to worry about getting rid of stuff. So that's kind of the as is strategy, and you don't necessarily have to fix up your home for sale. Or the we want to get the most amount of money kind of strategy, and so that involves a little bit of work. Right now what's going on is the buyers are deciding whether or not they're even going to come look at the house based on the online presentation. So they're all expecting HGTV now, right? So you really have to position the home to be priced the best and look the best to get as many buyers looking at it as possible. As far as the rates are concerned, they've been steady as we go now for several months, up and down, just a little tick here and there every single day. But I will tell you that Trump just came out with this thing where he wants to introduce the 50-year mortgage. Did you hear about that?
I did, and I've been waiting to find out your thoughts on that.
Well, I read an article this morning in the Wall Street Journal, and of course, I didn't agree with the author. It was very negative at the idea. I can just tell you from doing this business since 1996, on average, most people don't stay in the home for 30 years or 20 years. Some will stay for 35, but I would say a large percentage of them, on average, are probably selling their home every 10 years right now. Okay. So if you're planning to keep the house for 10 years, then why not opt to have the lowest payment? And I know from history that so let me just back up and talk about what Trump is proposing. He's basically proposing to authorize what they call a 50-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage. So what that will do is it will reduce the fixed payment that a homeowner has on their house, but it's going to spread it across 50 years instead of 30. And for buyers, it's all about the payment. They want home ownership. They want the opportunity for the home to go up in value. So I believe it's going to have a very positive effect on the market, and it's going to pull some buyers out of hiding. There's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines and not able to buy a home because they're not affordable. Right now, the median home price for homes in the El Paso County area is hovering around 500,000. So if you went and got a 30-year fixed 500,000 with very little down, you're going to be spending about 4,500 a month. That's a lot of money, or 35. I'm sorry, 3,500 a month. That's still a lot of money out of your paycheck every month. So spreading it over time is not a bad idea. And I know that will boost the market because I saw it happen right before the meltdown. And that's what we heard in this Wall Street Journal article that, oh, it caused a disaster when we extended the loan term. No, that's not what caused the meltdown. What caused the meltdown was that people that could not qualify, that the lenders didn't have to verify that they actually could make that payment, were getting loans just because they had a pulse, and they gave everybody a loan. Then they took the loans and sold them on the secondary market as quality loans in the stock market. So it crashed both the real estate market and the stock market at the same time. So it was more the lending criteria than it was the term of the loan. But during that time, right before the meltdown, one of the loan products that they came up with was called a 1% negative amortization loan. What that means is it's sort of like a teaser rate. Hey, I'll give you a 1% mortgage for 1 year or 3 years or whatever it was. The problem was the going rates at the time were about 6%. So how is the difference made up? Basically, every month the loan balance would go up. And then when the market crashed, they didn't have the equity to sell their home. And people started doing short sales and foreclosures, and it just cascaded out of control. But what was interesting to me was the extreme demand for those loans at the time. So people that qualified for 100% financing VA were offered a VA loan at a normal interest rate. And they were telling the lenders, if you don't give me that 1% loan, I'm going to a different lender to get it, because it was all about the lower payment. That's what they were interested in. I don't think this idea is anywhere near that one. That one was a bad idea because every month your loan balance would go up. That's not the case with a 50-year mortgage. Every month your loan balance will go down. It'll just go down a little bit slower. So I think it's pretty exciting. I think it's going to boost the market, and we're going to see some changes if it does come about. And it's going to be good. I mean, right now we've had kind of a correction a little bit, 20, 30,000, depending on where you're looking. And I really feel like if some of these things get implemented, it's really going to accelerate the market, get more buyers off the sideline, and actually increase our values. Richard?
So, Barb, we're discussing the Fed's recent increase on the borrowing rate, whether or not it's going to have an effect on the housing market. Help us with this, Barb. What should home sellers expect and do in a market situation like this one?
Well, if you are thinking of making a move and the market is a little bit soft right now, the best way to get the most money for your home is to price it what I call realistically versus optimistically. And one thing I noticed that even the pretty homes that are priced on the high end of the spectrum, over time, they are getting contracts. So if you're not in a big hurry and you want to wait for your price, it's fine. It'll work just fine. But if you're not getting any showings at all, that's a clue. The market's telling you that what they're seeing out there, they're finding better choices. So the best thing to do, of course, is price your home what I call realistically versus optimistically, and make sure you hire an agent that knows how to promote the home to get great exposure, get fabulous pictures, because your first showing is online. And if you don't get that right, they won't even come to see it. Richard?
So, Barb, you're listening to the Real Estate Voice. That is, of course, Barb Schlinker, your home sold guaranteed realty. And to reach out to Barb, simply give her a call at Your Home Sold, 719-301-3900, or you can always visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to change real estate agents when the sale is not working here in Colorado. You don't want to miss that.